Everyone, and welcome to the session today. It's a very special session, a very powerful one. Just give me a minute. There are a few people who are joining, and I'll just admit them in. Uh, okay, and let's start. So the session today is about Ho'oponopono, and those of you who know and those of you who don't, this is an ancient Hawaiian practice which is very powerful, and there is a lot of work which Dr. Hewlin has done. He has been working in this area for about 40 years now, and Joe Vitale learned it from him and took it to the entire world. So credit to him. The session will be led by Dr. Nupur Agarwal. Dr. Nupur is a certified meditation expert and clinical hypnotherapist based out of London, UK. My name, for those of you who are joining the session for the first time, my name is Ashish Kumar, and I'm the founder of Mindful Living. We do sessions on mindfulness for the corporates and for the community. We have conducted over 200 sessions in the last 2.5 years for leading organizations that include IBM, Tata Group, Power Grid, Airbnb, Times of India, CII, EXL, etc. With that note, I'll now invite Dr. Nupur to take this forward. It will be the session is organized in form of a conversation where I'll be asking Dr. Nupur some questions, and then she will be taking it forward. Before I invite Dr. Nupur to take this forward, just one thing I would like to share with you all, that the session today may challenge some of the existing beliefs that you have. And so be patient before you accept or reject anything that you hear from us. Try it out. That is what I would urge you to do, and stay focused on getting that one golden nugget which can change your life. This is a very powerful system, very simple and very powerful system. And possibly because it is so simple, sometimes we feel whether it actually works or not. My request to you to please try this out before you accept or reject it. So I'd like to start by asking Dr. Nupur a question. Who are the gentlemen we see in this picture? And what is this?
So I would like to say a big hello to everybody. Am I audible? Am I loud enough?
Yes,
can you give me a thumbs up? Am I loud enough?
Yes,
yeah? Okay. Okay, so thank you everybody for your time and for being with us today. It's an honor to have you devote this time of your precious day and be with us. And I hope you will not be disappointed, and I trust you will not be disappointed. So as Ashish mentioned, this is a wonderful practice called Ho'oponopono. And the gentleman with the spectacles is Dr. Hewlin. He's a Hawaiian psychologist, and he's the one who brought this practice into a much more well-known arena of clinical work. And before this, the practice was already existing in the Hawaiis. So it is a traditional practice in the Hawaiian community, which has been going on probably from the time we don't even know. It's a very ancient practice brought into our knowledge and awareness by Dr. Hewlin, the gentleman in spectacles. And next to him is Dr. Joe Vitale. He is a spiritual teacher. He has a very interesting journey in his own right. And he's the one who heard of Dr. Hewlin and then approached him and then understood what the system is, and he wrote a book about it. So Ashish, do we have the book on the next slide?
Yeah. So the book is this one.
Okay, yeah. So this is the book that Ashish was referring to. This is written by Dr. Joe Vitale. It's please, we would really urge you to look up this book. It's a very interesting read, very profound read, and it'll answer a lot of your questions also. Thank you.
And everything that we have in the presentation today is directly lifted from the book. So due credit to this book. There is not a word that I have inserted. Everything that you see on the slides is directly from the book.
So the main precepts of Ho'oponopono are forgiveness, love, gratitude. And talking about forgiveness, it talks about repentance and transformation. So what does the word Ho'oponopono really mean? If we really break up the word Ho'oponopono, it's a bit of a tongue twister because it is a Hawaiian word. It means to rectify an error, to correct or to rectify. Ho means the cause and pono means perfection. So to rectify an error is what Ho'oponopono means. Now, where does the error arise in? Now, that's what is a question. Now, error could be in our thoughts, it could be in our perceptions, it could be in our subconscious mind, it could be in our behavior. And Ho'oponopono is a way to release this energy of pain, frustration, error, and whatever may be causing imbalance in our life, in terms of our perception, in terms of our experience, in terms of our relationships, in terms of our finances, wherever the imbalance may exist, or in our health, that's where we can apply this practice in a way to completely erase those records from our subconscious, conscious minds and our energy field. So though it's a prayer, but it has got a very deep energetic impact on our existence. So last line says it's a problem-solving process that is done entirely within oneself. So irrespective of where the problem lies, as we go ahead in the presentation, you'll understand it's not where the problem lies. It could be an argument that you may be having and you're blaming the other person. Or it could be a family issue, which you are not directly involved, but a third person is involved. You could still practice Ho'oponopono and see the impact, the positive impact gradually that will take place in the third party as well. So that is the power of this prayer.
Dr. Nupur, could I also request you to share a bit about the work Dr. Hewlin did with the criminally insane patients at the Hawaiian hospital, so that it gives a little bit perspective of what working within self, within oneself means. How did
Absolutely.
he cure? Yeah, how did he cure?
So what really what made Dr. Hewlin very famous, though he was already well known in the Hawaiian community, but the word got out that being a psychologist, he was called upon to work in a psychiatric ward of criminally insane patients. And the head of the hospital had done everything, but he wasn't able to create any shifts there. So he was called upon, and Dr. Hewlin said that I will not visit the ward physically. I will stay at home. Just send me the file of those patients. So there was a big group of people that was the patients in the criminally insane ward, and Dr. Hewlin started doing the Ho'oponopono prayer or chant, and he actually cured those patients. He actually created a sense of massive shifts in their psychiatric well-being without actually speaking to even one patient. And that was path-breaking. That was groundbreaking. Nobody had ever heard that something like that could exist. And once this got out in medical journals, because everything with medicine is documented in the West and in the East as well, but more so in those days, we are talking about a few decades ago. And that's when this word went out that this doctor, psychologist, is able to cure an entire ward of criminally insane patients without meeting one single patient. And how did he do that? And that's when Dr. Joe Vitale actually heard it and approached Dr. Hewlin to understand about this. So that's the biggest profound story to tell us the impact of this practice, the impact it can have. And those patients were not related to Dr. Hewlin in any way. They were all strangers. And as we go forward, we'll understand this concept of strangers is also a very limited concept, because this prayer comes from a space of oneness. This prayer believes and explains to us that we all are connected. We all are one. It's like almost like, waves in an ocean. The wave can feel that it's separate from the ocean, but actually a wave is a part of the ocean. So just imagine all of us are like those waves. You know, we may feel that some of us can rise very high, some of us are low, just like different waves. But the essence of us is the ocean, the water, and that is the oneness. And this prayer actually talks about that oneness and works at that level of oneness. It does not work at the level of ego, identity, mind, body. It works at the level of oneness. So the basic principle of the prayer is that I take 100% responsibility of this experience. So to begin with, we encourage that you do this for yourself, for whatever issues you have in your life, for whatever challenges you have in your life. And as you become more and more adept at it, you can expand it to more people in your, to whatever you, so in fact, whatever experience comes up, COVID, you know, some of us feel that, oh, I was not responsible. I did not know where the virus came from. I got infected by COVID. I probably even passed it on to my loved ones. Now the intention is not about the guilt here, but taking the responsibility that this pandemic that has affected the entire planet, you could even do it for that, right? But the first principle is to take full and complete responsibility of whatever experience you are having in your life, and that itself is a very, very elevated space of consciousness, because that means that you have to step out from your victimhood. A lot of times we feel that we are victim of our story, we are victim of our life situation, we are victims of our upbringing, our social economic status, our finances. Now this practice takes you out of from victim mode, and it tells you accept, own and love whatever you, wherever you are and whatever you have. So you have to take responsibility, and that is the first principle and the basic principle of this. Next slide, please. So as you take this 100% responsibility and step out of the victimhood, you slowly start shedding a lot of baggage that you have collected over the years. It automatically empowers you, because right now when you're feeling a victim, the power is hemorrhaging. The power leaks from you because you're blaming somebody else. So the more you come into the acceptance, you start entering a field, energetic field of love and forgiveness. And there are certain mantras that we will tell you what the prayer is, and that's exactly what it talks about. It says that take action on ideas and opportunities that come your way. So in a way, it tells you that the problem or the challenge or the experience that you are faced with has come into your life to empower you. It's an opportunity to empower you. So look at it from that aspect and work towards it, right? Now, the main and the most simplest 4 words in Ho'oponopono are, I am sorry, please forgive me. I would request Mr. Goyal to please mute himself. So the 4 important words of Ho'oponopono are phrases, sorry, I am sorry, please forgive me, thank you, and I love you. Now, these are the phrases. Just take a moment, you know, I don't want to rush into this. Just take a moment and read each of them very carefully, slowly, and let them sink into your awareness. Very simple, nothing that we have never heard before, but they're almost like pearls in a beautiful mala. They are woven together, and that's the impact that they have. So let's explore what each of those mean. I am sorry. What are we saying sorry to? And who are we saying sorry to? I am saying sorry for this problem that exists. And I'm taking full and complete responsibility of whatever I'm feeling. Because as per the conscious, spiritual, elevated conscious awareness, there is no such thing as out there. Everything that we are experiencing or undergoing is existing at the level of our mind. So that means our human experience is completely what we are experiencing in our awareness, in our own self. So we are saying, I am sorry. Now you could say that I didn't do anything wrong in this argument or in this situation, then why should I say sorry? You know, now when you say that, or when we feel, that's the most common thing, that why should I say sorry? Now, when we think like that, we are thinking of ourselves from a very limited egoistic perspective. The I in the I am sorry is not our ego. The I in the I am sorry is the universal consciousness that we all are part of. And that is what this practice takes you. It takes you beyond your person, beyond your ego, into that oneness that we all are. So we are saying that because we are all one, there is no such thing as yours and mine. Even though conflict could be happening in a different continent, there is no separation. And that in many ways, if you understand, the pandemic has showed us that we are also connected. So I am sorry, irrespective of whether you feel you have done something wrong, you still say sorry, right? And not from your ego perspective, but from a deeper, more conscious awareness within you. Next slide, please. Please forgive me. Now, forgiveness is one of the highest practices that we can do in this lifetime. And as you take responsibility, you realize that you can't blame anybody. Even though it may appear that the cause was external to you, this prayer is telling you that you have to understand that whatever happened in your experience is a teacher to you, is a manifestation of your own awareness. And that's where you have to forgive from, that space. You are not asking to be forgiven, you're asking for help to forgive yourself. You are just asking for the energy of forgiveness to operate. Please forgive me. Because consciously or unconsciously, because of the oneness that we all are, maybe sometimes we have contributed energetically without knowing what has happened. But the very fact that something has come in your awareness, you can ask for forgiveness for that. And also sometimes it is believed that when you go deeper into this work, they said, Dr. Hewlin says that when you say, please forgive me, it's a vibration that you are kicking off in the universe, the vibration of forgiveness. And the vibration of forgiveness is the highest vibration, is the highest frequency. And it doesn't matter who is asking for forgiveness. As long as you are seeking it from your individual presence, somebody else on the planet may get affected and impacted by that forgiveness. Because we have to understand that it's almost like, imagine you are throwing a pebble in the water of still pond. A pond, very still, you're throwing a pebble, it creates waves. It creates waves around it. And it starts to create waves very, very far away from the center where the stone was dropped. So when you ask for forgiveness, you are dropping that pebble in the universal consciousness to create impact and shift. And that forgiveness energy may actually go and impact somebody who's seeking it or who needs it. But you need to initiate that energy at your level. Right? Next one. I love you. Now, this is not romantic love. This is not conditional love. This is an energy. This is a universal life force energy that exists, that actually is a glue that's holding the entire universe together. They say, and who is this they? All these spiritually awakened beings that actually are walking this planet while we are in this. It's not just Buddha was there, or Krishna was there, or Christ was there, or Muhammad was there. Those were the beings, or Guru Nanak was there, Sai Baba. All these awakened beings have told us that love is the universal language of healing. Love is what is the energy that has actually tied us all together. Love is what transmutes everything that has been blocked, gone wrong, stuck. And I would like to actually bring your attention here to this lady called Anita Moorjani. Please make a note of her name if you haven't heard of her before. Anita Moorjani, and she has written a book called Dying to Be Me. And this book is an account of a near-death experience. Near-death experience is when a person has physically been proclaimed dead at the medically, but their consciousness is so alive that they are able to experience, see, hear things which are happening where they are present in the bodily form. If they are in the hospital, they can hear the doctors speak, nurses speak. They are aware of things that are happening in a different country. Because what in her near-death experience she has explained is that once you leave the form, you become your essence, and your essence is this pure God consciousness. You are a part of that God universal consciousness, and that has no limit, that has no boundaries, that has no time. And she could experience multi-dimensional things. She could hear her brother in Bombay. She could hear the doctors down the corridor in the hospital in Hong Kong. She could hear what her mother and sister were talking about in Delhi. And she became this universal awareness. And she experienced a lot of things which are accounted for in her book called Dying to Be Me. And she's just one example. There are millions of examples, and near-death experiences have been my passion. I've been exploring them for a long time, only because they tell us that we are not what we think we are. We are beyond this physical reality. And she says, Anita Murjani says, that love is the only tangible or the only energy that can heal. Love is what exists on this planet universally beyond the physical form, and that's the energy that heals. So I am sorry, please forgive me, I love you. Now, love means you have to love your addictions, you have to love your pimples, you have to love your gray hair, you have to love your everything that comes your way. Whatever life has brought into your awareness right now is grace. Experience that as grace, the pain, the discomfort. It is challenging, I agree, but that is the shift that we need to now start making in our consciousness. That whatever I'm experiencing right now is grace. And what is grace? Grace is that acceptance that universal consciousness or God or divine loves me so unconditionally that whatever it has brought to my experience has only been brought to me to expand me from this boxed existence into the universal awareness that I am, this God awareness that I am. And that's what love means, the only energy. So sometimes we may feel that, oh, suppose you have a boss that's giving you a lot of grief, and you say, okay, let me start doing Ho'oponopono for this boss. So you'll say, I'm sorry, please forgive me. Whether the problem is caused by you or not, you will still say, I'm sorry, please forgive me. And then you will say, I love you. And you'll say, how do I love this damn boss of mine? He's been stealing the daylights out of my life. He's been giving me nightmares. Understand that this boss of yours is also universal consciousness. His reality, we have read it in our scriptures that we are not the body, we are the soul. And the soul is Atman, is God. So you don't love the physical form of this person, but you love that universal consciousness of this person that we all are. So now this prayer, this healing modality is forcing us to look beyond the physicality, the three-dimensional world that we see, and go beyond and love imperfections. Love thy enemy. When Jesus Christ said, love thy neighbor, what did he mean by that? You can't go and hug and give kisses. That's not what they mean. They say, love this universal consciousness that they are, because that's the only healing energy that transmutes everything that. So in fact, I was talking to my my lovely friend and colleague Joyita, who was also on this call yesterday, and we were just discussing that, Joy was saying that her knee was giving her a problem, and she says, you know what, she's a healer, and she says, you know what, all that I did was I put my hand on my knee and I just said, I love you. I really, really love you. And she said, whatever color came to me, I just kept imagining and I kept just giving love to my knee. We forget these simple things. So understanding that love, unconditional love, is what heals, that is integrated in this prayer. Next slide, please. And thank you. Now, gratitude. Ashish and I have done so much work on gratitude. We have done so many webinars on gratitude. Gratitude is one of the highest vibrations with love that exist on this planet and beyond the planet. It takes us beyond the three-dimensional universe. And thank you is a very, very frivolously used word. I really want you to understand that gratitude is like gravity. So this process can be used with or in place of I love you. It can be repeated mentally. I would say don't use it in place of I love you. Use it along with I love you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, and really heartfelt gratitude. This is what creates the shift. You know, I'm not going to spend much time talking about gratitude because we have done so many webinars. We have done our courses on gratitude, but just know that gratitude is one of the highest prayers. So this is the time to ask you for your feedback, for your questions. But before I ask you, I want to say that to you, that say you have a problem, whatever concern you are working for this prayer, you can start by saying, Divine, I take full and complete responsibility for this challenge, dash, dash, dash. So suppose you're facing a challenge with weight loss. Divine, I take full and complete responsibility of this excess weight that I'm feeling or this pain in my knee that I'm experiencing. Please erase all records from my subconscious mind and my conscious mind that may be creating this imbalance. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. And I love you. So this phrase that I have added in the beginning is not something probably that you may find in the book. This has come through my teachers who have taught me Ho'oponopono and the practice that we have been doing. Yeah. So thank you. I just wanted to share that little bit, which is very personal. And as we just discussed, there's nothing personal. It's all universal. So please opening the forum for questions, and I'll just take a 1 minute break and be back. Ashish, I'll be back.
Sure. Thanks, Dr. Nupur. So we'll be happy to hear from you. That's about the Ho'oponopono practice, which Dr. Nupur shared with all of us. We'll be happy to hear whether it resonates with you. The first time I came across this practice couple of months ago. To be very frank with you, I was a little confused, who am I saying sorry to, who am I saying thank you to, and my practice was a little bit slow, but as I started understanding this better, I'm more comfortable and I understand who that is, like Dr. Nupur so beautifully explained, who that person is, we are saying sorry and thank you to. So as we get more comfortable, I am doing more and more of this now, and we are going to, in the coming slide, talk about the three-step process that most of us go through in our journey. So that is coming up next, but we'll be happy to hear any questions, challenges, doubts, comments that you have on this. Anyway, there's nothing right, wrong, anything that comes to your mind.
Yeah, sorry, I'm back now. Thank you.
Yeah.
So Ashish, Partho here.
Hi, Partho.
I was just, so just wanted to share, I think, one word which could sum up Ho'oponopono practice is embracing.
Yeah.
Right? Embracing is one word which summarizes Ho'oponopono. Well, this is the first time I had heard of Ho'oponopono, but I have just come to know what Ho'oponopono is. And I find a lot of similarities from the Hindu scriptures, a lot of similarities in Ho'oponopono. If I also compare this with David Hawkins' map of consciousness, I find that I'm sorry, thank you, gratitude, which is forgiveness, and love you, right? These are all at the higher frequency of energy. One of the highest energy, which is bliss, right, can be, I think, attained by practicing Ho'oponopono. And I think this was beautiful. And I find a lot of similarity, or a lot of practicing it would definitely be helping us to attaining the higher energy frequency, which is so important for living, for healing one's own self.
So
Thank you.
beautifully said,
Yeah.
Mr. Roy. Thank you for your inputs. And you're absolutely right. In Dr. David Hawkins' scale of consciousness, joy, forgiveness, gratitude, they all are at the very high level of the spectrum. Absolutely.
And it's, as you rightly said, Partha, it's all about accepting. When we own and accept things, people, thoughts as they are, then it actually gives us the power to deal with them. As long as we are pushing away things, the more they stick to us and more they come back to us. So it's about owning. Any more comments, thoughts, as we will move forward?
Even questions, actually,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
not
yeah. Questions.
we're not asking you to accept this lying down challenge. We have been practicing Ho'oponopono. In fact, I find it the quickest resolution in relationships. It resolves issues very quickly, because when we are in intimate relationships, and I mean the people we live with, and they say that the people that you live with are your biggest gurus. Sometimes we feel that it's out there that we need to become, but the people who are living with us, they are our biggest teachers and gurus, because it's almost they're creating that friction that we need to evolve. And in those relationships, when conflict happens, you can see that by practicing Ho'oponopono, you can resolve the conflict very quickly, and the blame drops. And that is something that I have experienced for sure. You quickly come out of the victim judging mode, and that he did this, she did that, and you become so neutral that you see that it's okay, whatever was there was okay. And by chanting this mantra, I would also like to share that YouTube has some practices on Ho'oponopono, and there are very beautiful 108, because typically a mala rosary has 108 beads. So 108 times also you have these chants on YouTube. Please go and listen to them and just let them play in your energy field, and just keep chanting as much as you can. Yeah. And any questions, Ashish?
Yeah,
I'm seeing.
I have a question. I have a question, Dr. Nupur and Ashish. So, while love you and thank you are more of giving, right? Love you and thank you are more of giving. I am sorry and forgiveness is more of going through the process of pain, anger, and accepting, right? So I am sorry is acceptance, and forgive me is probably going through pain, anger. So just wanted to know, what is this journey? How is this journey defined in Ho'oponopono for these two? I am sorry and forgiveness. Both are very difficult processes. Saying I'm sorry
Yeah,
and forgiveness. Love you and thank you probably
are the easier
are more
ones.
of giving, easier ones. So,
Yeah.
what does Ho'oponopono say, or how does it guide? That is one thing which
Yeah.
I'm curious to know.
I mean, I would really appreciate Ashish's point of view, and I can share mine. Um, Sorry and forgiveness, is again, you have to understand that the I am sorry, and the me that is asking for forgiveness is not the ego. Though we start by saying from the ego perspective, it's from that we have to really now go beyond our ego identities into that universal consciousness. But that doesn't happen overnight. So the practice, the thing is, we can either be at the level where we are in our lives and that's no harm in that. We have spent lifetimes, if you believe in reincarnation, we have spent lifetimes in the ego identity. But this prayer is pushing us to go beyond that ego identity. And it is telling you that no matter whatever experience you are having, whether it is somebody who has slapped you on the road, you can still say, I'm sorry, because somewhere your energy was involved in that transaction. We don't know how. It's got nothing to do with taking blame and feeling victimhood. It's about taking responsibility that you are a partner to something that has happened to you. You don't know how, but you are ready to rectify your part of the bargain. Because we as human beings are very good at blame game. That's all we do. We blame, we play the victim card. So this is the shift that is in consciousness. I'm sorry, please forgive me. So there is another Dr. Wayne Dyer. He's also, if you've not heard of him, please make a note. Dr. Wayne Dyer. Dr. Wayne Dyer he's a spiritual guru. He's no longer with us. He's transitioned. He wrote in his book that for the longest time he was angry with his father because of whatever issues he had with his father. But one fine day he went to the grave or wherever he went and he said, I'm sorry, please forgive me. And that's the point where things started to shift for him.
So, Dr. Nupur, is it important for one, because I have seen most of the shifts, even when you spoke of Anita Moorjani, when we find researches regarding Kashi, the place where people go with a wish to die peacefully, and when you shared also the story of the shift of Mr. Wayne Dyer, they all came when it came to the imagination or visit of the places where people shift from this one world to the other world. So is it the realization that we all culminate in nothingness that gives birth to this thought? This is just a question which I wanted to ask you, because this might be having some kind of relationship with oneness.
So Anita Moorjani definitely says that you do not need to die like I died to experience this, and that's why these people have been brought back to us. We must understand when Anita Moorjani was happening in Hong Kong, Dr. Eben Alexander was happening in the Americas. Dr. Eben Alexander is a neurosurgeon, and he also went through imagine a neurosurgeon going through a near-death experience. And he wrote a book, Proof of Heaven. I'm not sure about the name of the book. I think it is called Proof of Heaven, but if you Google Dr. Eben Alexander, you'll find he was a neurosurgeon who had an NDE. Now, I believe, because I have done a lot of research in this, and it's my faith, and I trust that the God, divine, universal consciousness is telling us that, see, this case I'm sending you back a person from dead to tell you the experience, and I'm sending you back from in the East also. In Anita is from Indian thing, and Dr. Eben is from American. So East and West, Indian and non-Indian, but they are coming back with the same message. That you know what, and they were sent back to us like messengers of the universe, that you are not just this form, you are more than this form. Why hold on to grudges? Why wait till your last breath to realize that you are not this body? Let's start living from that energy now only, no? It's also, so making it a little more real. I'll tell you one example that one of my clients did. So she was practicing Ho'oponopono for she had body dysmorphic disorder. That means you're not able to accept your body as it is, right? And now, how I am sorry. Now, who is she saying sorry to? You can say, the way we started doing the practice was, I was guided by God's grace to tell her that you are not, so I am sorry to my body for disrespecting you. I am sorry. Please forgive me that I have not accepted you the way you are. I'm so sorry that I keep judging my body and I'm not happy in this vehicle. I love you. And thank you that even though I don't like you, you still work for me. You are still breathing. Your heart is still beating. I may say I'm too thin, too fat, or she had body dysmorphic disorder. Is a person who is thin also does not perceive themselves as thin. They think they're fat. So, very, very, very practical example. I'm sorry to the body. Please forgive me for blaming you. Please forgive me for not appreciating you. And it brings you in a very humble, just imagine with hands folded on your heart, how humble you become when you say, I'm sorry, please forgive me. Thank you and I love you. Your entire energy field changes.
Thank you for that question, Partha. I think that was very profound. And thank you, Dr. Nupur, for sharing your perspective. There is there is a comment from Farzeen, which says that in troubled times, it's very difficult to say, I forgive you. Any comments on that, Dr. Nupur?
So don't start at troubled times. Start now. Start when things are less troubled. Start with things which are less difficult. So if suppose you are in massive debt and you are like almost somebody's almost getting bankrupt. Now at that point, if they start saying, I'm sorry, please forgive me, it's going to be a little challenging. So start saying it for things that are less challenging. Start practicing this for simple things. Start practicing this for the times when, life has not put you against the corner. But you know what? Why do we feel that difficult things are wrong? Just because something is difficult, should we not do it? Is that the way are we going to perceive life like that then? It is difficult to do it, but still do it because that's the right thing to do. And once you do it, you'll realize it's not that difficult. I have experienced it. In my relationship with my husband, there are so many times when we have these fights, petty fights. I am 100% convinced that it's his problem. He was at fault. It's not me. And then when I say, I am sorry, please forgive me, my ego doesn't like it, but I still say it because the intention is to go beyond the ego. And trust me, in energy work, we say, fake it till you make it. So keep saying it. And at some point, it'll start ringing true.
Thanks for that, Dr. Nupur. There are some comments. I'll quickly read them out.
Dr. Nupur, sorry, I have a question, Ashmita here.
Yeah, sure.
My daughter is 12-year-old and I have been practicing, I do chanting, I do Ho'oponopono. Do I make my daughter who's 12-year-old also, do I introduce her to this? I mean, is it the right time to do?
How some children are very aware children, children are very aware.
Yeah.
So that will be something that you need to judge as a mother, whether if the child is already a very introverted child,
Okay.
and if she already feels that she takes the burden of the entire world on her shoulders, then I would say wait for a few more years.
Okay.
Because then she will think that everything is her responsibility.
Okay.
And right now she's in a very young formative stage of life. So maybe for her to become absolutely fully well-rounded is a time when she becomes an 18 or a 20-year-old, 18, I would say 16 to 18-year-old at least.
Okay.
And then, because right now, their perception of reality is very different from our perception of reality.
Mm-hmm.
She could naturally be a person who's very forgiving at heart. So then she doesn't need to do this practice but you practicing it as a mother and creating that energy field in your house will automatically impact her. It's almost like when we light agarbatti in one room, in one corner, we have our prayer, we have got our spot where we pray to the Almighty. And if we are lighting something like incense, that incense is lit in one corner, but the smell of it, the fragrance is spread through the entire house. Similarly, when we practice these elevated energetic practices, we do it, we feel the little I is doing it, but trust me, she will feel the impact anyways.
Thank you, doctor.
Thank you for that question, my dear.
Thank you, Ashmita. Also, thank you for sharing about how Ho'oponopono helped you deal with your relationship challenge. Dr. Nupur, there's a comment from Rishabh saying that if we accept things as they are, will it not make us lethargic? And, where is the scope for, fighting and growing if we accept things as they are? And how do we, in case we are going through a bad time, how do we accept this bad time as it is?
Yeah. So, Rishabh, we accept that see, understand that we are not saying the problem that by accepting something doesn't mean complacency. You don't become complacent by accepting something. What happens is, if in this moment, if suppose, see, we have to understand the power of this moment. This is the only moment I am living. In this moment, if I am feeling, suppose I'm feeling, it'd be helpful if you could tell, okay, suppose you have had you have failed an exam. I know because you're a student, so I'll talk like that. God forbid you fail, but failure is nothing wrong. Okay, suppose you have failed an exam. In this moment, that is your reality, Rishabh. I have failed the exam. Either you can go break your head, cry your eyes out, bawl about it, or you can accept that I have failed my exam. Acceptance is of what is. Acceptance doesn't mean you won't perform action. Now, once you have accepted this reality, your action will come from an elevated energy of acceptance rather than from a depleted energy of victimhood. So be very mindful. What is the energy behind my action? Is that an energy of lack? Or if nothing high, can it at least become neutral? Because whatever we do from an energy of lack, we are only attracting more lack. We have to come to a place of neutrality or elevation. If we can't be elevated, let's become neutral at least. And neutrality happens through prayer, through this prayer and through many other prayers. Acceptance is not complacency. Don't mistake it for that.
Dr. Nupur, can you just repeat that the chant about the knee that you made? When you put the slide, what do you feel like sharing? There was a Ho'oponopono chant you made.
Okay, divine. So divine, I take full and complete responsibility for this pain in the knee. Okay. Now, again, Atul, be very mindful. If somebody has pain in the knee, don't say my pain. What we do is we attach ourselves to our issues. Leave the my. It's just a pain. Divine, I take full and complete responsibility of this pain I'm experiencing in the knee, in my knee is okay. Please erase all records of memory from my subconscious, conscious mind. And then you say the chant, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, and I love you.
Thank you.
Thanks for asking that, Atulji. There's another very...
And this first part, sorry, Ashish, this first part is something that has been taught to me by my teachers, my spiritual teachers. So take it or leave it, but the real Ho'oponopono chant is only, I am sorry, please forgive me, thank you, and I love you.
There's a very interesting question by Vijay. If we are practicing Ho'oponopono for an individual, should we go and express our feelings too?
No. Do it in your heart. Do it as a prayer. Do it like a very sacred ritual that you, because the thing is, sometimes people are not in that same energy field. You may get disappointed. And this is not for that person, my dear. This is for you. So, you may feel, oh, maine to iske liye I've chanted for him. I'm doing this prayer for this person. And look at him, not even acknowledging me, not even respecting me for it. We have to now realize that this is a very sacred energy that you are creating it in your heart.
And I would just like to add to that, Vijay, that, it also makes it easier. So in the earlier version of Ho'oponopono, people would sit down in a group and they would say sorry to each other in case they need to. But in the new version of Ho'oponopono, which is taught by Dr. Yulin, people don't need to say sorry to each other. So that makes it easier. So if I have to say sorry to somebody, I can just say it internally in my mind. I'm sorry, keeping that person in mind. And then it works beautifully. And, I could say sorry to somebody who's no more, and it works equally well because it's all energy. So I think that's a great question. Sometimes we hold ourselves back from saying sorry because I have to go and face that person and say I'm sorry, but you can do it, in your mind and it works. Thank you, friends, for your questions. We just have a couple of minutes more, so we will move on. And if the time permits, then we will take questions again at the end of it.
May I request Mr. Goyal to mute himself, please?
Yeah. Hello.
Thank you, sir.
I'm Goyal speaking.
Okay, please go ahead.
I have experience whenever, the two opposite sides have fought, including it has happened with me a few times. But we have made our points very clear. That has formed the best of the relations so far, I know. There's nothing like a sorry and I love you and all that. But it has been that both sides fought it out. And so, that obviously made a very good relationship, lifetime relationships.
That's also a very, very nice experience. If both the parties have got such elevated consciousness, then absolutely. And they can amicably resolve, then that is a great scenario. But that doesn't really often happens in life. So thank you for sharing that, Mr.
Thank you.
And Mr. Goyal, this may, like I was mentioning earlier, sometimes we may do this practice with our ancestors also, who may not be around us physically. So in that case, it's not possible to get sit in face to face with them, but the practice works equally well if you were to do it with people who have passed on. Dr. Nupur, would you like to take us through the 3 stages of awakening?
Yes, sure, Ashish. So thank you for that, Mr. Goyal. If you don't mind, please mute yourself.
Yeah, carry on. Yeah.
So, so the 3 stages of awakening are that we step out first first we recognize that we have been playing the victim card. So we are powerless. The world is out to get me. I don't feel I have. So this is the mentality. First, become aware that we are playing this energy of victimhood. Then we come out of this and say that you are in control, you are in power. So, I actually prefer not to use the word control, but because we feel that, control is again a very a tricky subject, but just recognizing that you are in your power, recognize that you are a powerful being. Because if we are a part of the divinity, if we are a part of that universal consciousness, then how can we be powerless? We are powerful. So being and owning in and standing in your power, in your light. And then the third step becomes to surrender. You begin to realize that there is a greater power above you. So many times you may be atheist, you may not believe in God, but no, none of us can deny the existence of some power beyond us. If you can't, then you are being, I would say, very arrogant. How can you say that gravity you are creating? The very fact that you are able to walk on the planet is because of a force. Now, who created gravity? We are a small ball of energy called Earth that is going around. It's a small planet in the universe. So you have to understand that surrender is a very, very powerful practice. So coming out of the victimhood, standing in your power and surrendering. These are the 3 baby steps into self-realization. And the next slide, Ashish. Okay, so we have come to the end of this practice today, of this discussion. Just if you have any questions, thoughts, please write them down, or you can ask them after we finish the webinar. This is a webinar that I am conducting with my dear friend Joyita. She's also on this call, and this is on self-love. So we thought we would probably talk about this today because it ties in with our theme of love. We are doing a free introductory webinar for you to know more about this workshop on Tuesday evening at 8 p.m. 22nd of June, 8 p.m. It's a Tuesday. The actual workshop will happen on next weekend. It's either on Thursday or Saturday. We'll confirm the dates on Tuesday. But if you want to know more about this and you want to know more about what is self-love, details of this workshop, please join us on Tuesday. It's going to be a free introduction, but the workshop will cost a very nominal amount. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Nupur. And we'll just like to share about our next event. which is on 27th June, which is a Sunday. So our next event is not on Saturday, but on Sunday at 5 p.m. And it's a mandala meditation with Ranjita, which is, drawing mandala. It's a very meditative and beautiful art form. That is what it is. We will share the details with you over the next couple of days, but you may want to block your time for that. And we still have a couple of minutes, so we'll be happy to take any questions that you may have. And some of you have joined us for the first time. In case you would like to stay connected with us, you can share your numbers in the chat box, and we'll be happy to add you to our community where we share details about the future events. So you could share your questions or your numbers in the chat in case you would like to stay connected with us.
Also, I would really urge you, friends, you have been so patient, you have been so lovely. Don't just listen and forget this. Please try it out. Yeah. And try it out at least for 21 days, Don't give up on it. It's a beautiful practice. The book also is available I think it's available online. You can purchase it, or you can, I'm not sure. It's an audio book for sure on YouTube. So, our intention through these webinars is just to introduce concepts to you. And these are powerful, these are the power that is running this universe, to be honest with you. Gratitude, love, Ho'oponopono, all of these. Again, something called EFT tapping, which I'm hoping Ashish and I can work on, these are all cleansing techniques. We have to keep cleansing, like how we take a shower every day. We have to keep cleansing our emotional and mental space also. It's very important to shower there also. So these are the techniques that, don't give up. Please try it out.
And which book are you talking about, Doctor? Which book?
Sorry, Atul?
What is the name of the book?
It's called Zero Limits. Zero Limits by Dr. Joe Vitale.
And one thing I would just like to sound out as a note of caution is Dr. Nupur mentioned it's a cleansing technique. And sometimes when you clean, either you could come up with something which is cleaner, or you could come up with some dirt which is inside, so it can get troublesome. So just be little careful when you're doing this, because some people, and Dr. Joe Vitale talks about it in his book also, and he uses the words, he uses the phrase that shit hits the ceiling, So someone might have that experience of shit hitting the ceiling kind of experience. So just be a little careful. It's not something that cannot be handled. It can be handled. You just need to intensify the practice at that point of time, or you can reach out to us, me or Dr. Nupur, and we'll support you with that. But just be little cognizant of that. And Ashmita has shared the links to our social media, our the WhatsApp group, our Facebook group, our LinkedIn page, our YouTube page. Please like them, and you can share once you've and you can use that to stay connected with us and know about our future events. Thank you, Deepan sir. He has put the name of the book on the chat. Zero Limits and the 0 Point are available on Amazon and on Audible too. Thank you, Joy. Thank you, Ashmita.
Just before we close, I just want to say that you can do this also for somebody who is going through a challenge. Suppose one of your best friends is going through a crisis in her life. You can just chant for her that divine, I take full and complete responsibility for this challenge that this person is feeling. May this be released from all the subconscious memories, and just keep chanting, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. You can do this on behalf of other people also, and for other people.
Thank you,
Nupur, just wanted to ask one question. Is there any time when should we chant this phrase? Or we can chant it anytime during the day. One is that thank you so much. it's a very powerful session. I have been practicing gratitude, but never heard the Ho'oponopo, this mantra or this chanting, and how it works. Yes, superficial level, the other words, we've been using very frivolously, but actually have never practiced it. But I'm definitely going to practice this to experience this myself. But just wanted to know, is there any time, we should do it in the morning or any time during the day, and how to do it?
See, when you're doing it, like, it's nice to find a time that you feel that you are not distracted, you are not rushed. Do it whenever you can find it. Lives are different for all of us. If you can have a ritual and do it in the morning, in the evening, at night, do it when you are peaceful. It's very nice. But I also do it when I'm going for my walk. So when I'm going for my walk, if I see somebody who is ailing, suppose I see a lady who's on wheelchair, I'll just say a prayer, and I can just maybe just say this chant for her for a few times. And if you're going in your car, there are a lot of traffic jams, and you're standing, instead of getting frustrated about the traffic, instead of getting frustrated and all riled up about the traffic, just say, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you, I'm sorry. Let it become your default chant. Instead of going to the mind and criticizing things and judging things, say this.
And how many times one should say this?
As many times. As I said, 108 is on YouTube. It's there as a record. You say it 108 times. You can do it into 2, 3, 4. You can do it as a rosary mala, or you can just say it. Trust your intention, guys. That's one thing I must say. With energy work, it's your intention that's most powerful. It's not the numbers. It's not the hours. It's not the days. Set a pure intention in your heart. Do it from your heart space, and as much as you can do, that's perfect. Intention is the key.
Thank you so much. And it's a wonderful session. Thank you, Ashish. Thank you, Dr. Nupur.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nupur and Ashish. It's always a wonderful listening to you. And thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dr. Nupur. Thanks, Ashish. Pleasure hearing from you, both of you. It's such a enlightening session, and I will definitely follow it.
Thank you, Dr. Sandhya.
A lot of gratitude to each one of you for being here.
Thank you, Ashish.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nupur, ma'am.
Thank
Thank you, Ashish.
Thank you,
Dr.
Kumar.
Nupur.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Nupur. And